Hello, welcome everyone to our pre-show lobby chat on John Van Brugge's The Relapse or Virtue in Danger. I'm Jesse Berger, founder and artistic director of Red Bull Theater, and I'm pleased to welcome today to the lobby chat Professor Stuart Sherman, professor of English at Fordham University, and our fabulous director, Mark Vitor. Please join us now, gentlemen. Thank you for being here for the lobby chat. I am so excited to hear this rarely heard play, The Relapse. I can't think of any time that I've ever had a chance to hear it or see it in production. And I will say, as backstory, about 3.5 years ago, I asked Mark if he would direct a reading of this play, and Michael Urie if he would star in it as Foppington. And they both said yes, gamely, not knowing that it would take 3 years for us to get to doing it in person and online this Monday, October 24th. So I am really thrilled that it's finally coming to fruition. And this is a brief lobby chat. This is really an informal chat where we just have a chance to talk for a couple minutes, right, as if we were in the lobby, and for you to tell us a couple things about the play that would help us understand it and enjoy it more. So, Professor Sherman, if I could start with you, Stuart, just if you can answer in 1 minute or 2 minutes or less, what's one key thing or two key things that you really think an audience should know about this play before they get into the theater tonight?
Thanks for asking about the two key things. Thanks for giving me two, because I think there are two that work perfectly together. The play gets its huge comic energy from the fact that it's both a reality check and a relay race. Reality check because a younger playwright had written the year before a very sentimental comedy about a toxic male, a toxic husband. And everyone ends up behaving really, really well. And John Van Brugge, more seasoned, looked at that play, which had become a hit, and thought, that's not the way things work. Things are more dark and complicated than that. The play is called The Relapse because the husband relapses, and everything follows from there. The relay race has to do with the younger playwright too. He wrote that earlier play in order to create a part for himself so that he could become a star. He created a character named Sir Novelty Fashion, and it was a huge hit. The character was a huge hit. So Van Brugge took that character, as in a relay race, and ran with it to the comic peak. No one except maybe Falstaff is as funny or funnier than Lord Foppington. He's been promoted. And so that's the combination. The combination is a reality check that is dark, complicated, funny, and very, very smart. Van Brugge became one of the greatest architects in history. He knew how to deal with realities. The comedy inheres, and how much greater could it be than having Lord Foppington played by Michael Urie?
That's terrific, Stuart, and thank you for that information. I didn't know all of that. I knew it was a sequel, but I didn't know some of those details, which are really helpful to fill in. And Mark, I'd love to hear from you just a couple of things about what you might say about the play to an audience member coming in to hear your reading of the play. Just one thing before I hand it over to you, Mark, I have to say you have assembled a fantastic cast of actors that are going to really, it's really going to be a delight, and I'm looking forward to experiencing it with you. So, Mark, with that said, what are one or two things you might say that could be helpful for an audience entering The Relapse for the first time here in 2022?
Well, the play itself, the play stands for itself in many ways, and you can enjoy it just reading it. But the play was written a long time ago, and it is a comedy of manners that depends very much for its effectiveness on the familiarity that the central characters have to its audience. And the central characters in this play, played by Michael Urie, played by Reg Rogers, played also by Stephen DeRosa. They all had a kind of familiarity to the Playhouse. Actually, would have been a proper proscenium arch theater that people saw this in if this was the restoration, and they'd be seeing women for the first time. The familiarity that the audience has with the characters is sort of pivotal to helping you understand and appreciate and laugh along with them. So part of the challenge of adapting or doing a reading of a 300 or 400-year-old play is to try to bring it up to date, to bring it into the ear of a modern audience. And so there have been some cuts and there have been some qualifications to the language, and I've removed a number of things that would have been customary in the English Playhouse, like a mask in the fifth act and prologues on either side of the play. The beginning and the end, there was an epilogue and there was a prologue spoken by key characters, and these were ways of getting the audience into their seats and so forth, which would be inappropriate or really unnecessary for a reading. But other than a couple of sort of architectural, to borrow a appropriate Vanbrugh metaphor, architectural changes, I hope that the spirit of the play is there. And of course, every great play, the reason we remember plays isn't because of plots, or it's because of characters, and the characters of the great plays are what make us come back to them over and over again. And this play, as Stuart says, has a couple of iconic characters, and Lord Foppington being one of them, one of the most hilarious. But also Lovelace, the rake, is a kind of a classic figure. And I think that the secret, really, at the end of the day, to making it approachable to this audience or any audience is in the casting. And we have a brilliant cast, and I'm very excited that we're going to be working together.
Thank you, Mark. And I can't wait to hear the reading and see the reading. And it will be, well, some of you are watching this online and some of you are watching it in person. We're going to be live in person at Symphony Space in New York City on Monday, October 24th. And thank you, Mark. And thank you, Stuart, for sharing some insights about the relapse, or Virtue in Danger, one of my favorite subtitles ever. If you'd like to hear more from Stuart and Mark about the play, please join us after the reading in person or online, however you're joining the relapse. For a free conversation or bull session, as we like to call them at Red Bull Theater. And with that said, thank you very much again to our special guests, Stuart and Mark, and I hope you all enjoy the reading of The Relapse.